Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Signals from the Batcave. I am Knock.
I'm Rara.
What do we got today, Rara?
Let's see. We got a few things happening. I've yet to pick up the book, but Dark Knight 3, Master Race, I believe drops tomorrow. Or was it today?
November 25th.
Yep, so that's tomorrow. So I can't have picked up the book because it comes out in the future unless I travel there. But that's not
by the
happen.
time that this gets uploaded, it will be today, so...
Okay, well, I am then prematurely happy for having it?
Yay!
Okay, whatever.
Speaking of Batman books, Batman Europa. Amazing book. Great writing by somebody. I can't remember who.
Oh, quick!
But
Jim
Lee does the artwork for it, and Jim Lee is a god when it comes to Batman art. He also did the artwork on Hush. He was one of the co-founders of Image. He had Wildcats as his main book.
Yeah.
Other stuff.
You know, I really dig his artwork. I loved his stuff when he was on for the stuff that I have way back in like let's say the early '90s when he did the X-Men relaunch and he did the 6 covers that ended up being a fold-out poster.
Yep.
For the original team. I think it was the original team. Hell, Wade would know for sure. But man, I loved his artwork on that run. I loved his stuff that he did in Punisher War Journal. I still hang on to those again, early '90s.
Yeah.
But it's
Punisher War Journal. Yeah.
It's his run on Batman that I think really plays to his I don't know. I guess attention to detail and way he plays with lights and darks.
He's the first man that gave Batman tread on his boots.
There you go. See that? There you go. That I think is mad cool. And I think we see a lot of that emulated in today's stuff too. There were a lot of knockoffs of his. I think Silvestri is one of them that tried to do the same things that he did, especially when that look was popular.
The short-eared Batman. Joe Quesada also did that. Well,
not even just short-eared Batman, but just the sort of really thin lines and sketchy at times where the detail was supposed to get really, really sort of lost.
Yes, the cover for Batman Europa has that sketchiness to it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think his artwork is awesome, and I've always loved his runs on Batman. So I'm looking forward to it.
Not cooperating with me, so I'm just gonna say written by some guy.
Okay. Let's see if I have better luck at it.
Yeah, maybe.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that book. I mean, this is gonna be a really good couple of weeks for Batman, I think. You have Jim Lee on Europa. You have whether you're a fan of Miller or not, you have part 3 and that saga dropping tomorrow, and then 2 weeks from now you have Batman Turtles, which I'm really getting jazzed for, and I hope it's as good as it looks.
The way that they've been doing the crossovers, it seems like a collaboration between IDW and DC, not just let's put these 2 books together, but they're actually talking back and forth for inspiration between the 2 characters. I can give for instance, they're currently doing a Green Lantern Star Trek crossover, and they're using the Star Trek characters from the reboot, so Chris Pine Zachary Quinto, people like that are in these books, and they're doing a great job. I don't know a whole lot about Star Trek. I'm more of a Star Wars fan, but from what I know of the Star Trek series, they're keeping everything pretty close together.
Okay. Well, I'm more of a Star Trek person than a Star Wars person, although I am kind of jazzed for the movie coming out in less than a month. And the internet is wonky here. But to go back on track, I don't know. I wasn't happy with the Star Trek reboot. I think it was a little too clean. That's more attributed, I think, to Abrams' style of shooting. Everything looks very, I don't know, very modern, I guess. I guess I kind of like the old sort of like, even with the Next Generation set, there was a lot of earth tones. It had a lot of light, but like the carpeting was like kind of like a brownish color. There was a lot of blacks in the paneling, the computer paneling, because they were sort of, the buttons would be backlit through them.
Right.
So it was still that sort of like theme of an unknown, you know,
you're
like
right.
an ambiguity.
Thinking about the rebooted movies, it does seem brighter.
Yeah.
It's not, the shots aren't as dulled
Yeah.
as before.
Yeah. And you know, that's not what I think kind of Star Trek is. I mean, I understand what they're going for. I guess hope and you know, that sort of like need to explore the cosmos, that sort of drive of curiosity, but I don't know. I just didn't dig them.
Yeah.
Okay, Internet, you seem to be working kind of. Written by Still Blank.
Yay!
Still loading.
Okay, so I'll put that in the show notes. Back to Batman.
Yeah.
We will go to last week's Gotham.
Yep, because we're still a week behind because Fox Now.
Yeah, I choose to wait so I can talk about it with Ra on this show.
And by saying we are a week behind, I mean just me.
Yeah, I can actually watch this week's if I really wanted to, but then I'll get confused and mix stories, and that's just a mess in itself. So
Brian Azzarello and Matteo Casali.
yes, them.
Yes, I'm not familiar with their work.
I'm gonna have to look it up.
Yep, and we won't do that now.
No.
But yeah, man. So this is the deal with this show. We have argued on this channel, not necessarily on this channel, but on our
The
parent
Yogurt
channel, the Yogurt channel, about the pros and cons of this show for a better part of a year and a half, I think. No, almost a year.
Right.
For almost a year.
Well, it started last season, so yeah, about a year.
Yeah. And I've argued time and time again that people should continue to stick with this show, even though its start was very rocky, because there is great potential for good stuff. And this season 2, with the season of the villains, I think that has really started to shine through. And Knock and I were talking about this earlier in preparation for this podcast, but last week's episode is by far my most favorite episode in terms of how it was written, how it was presented, and really just the real feel for the direction the show is going, the series is going. I think it's never been clearer. And I think they've really come into their own in terms of providing a show that is different from every other show that I think of that genre, of comic book genre, on television right now. And I'll just say that flat out.
I thought of this earlier when we were talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
You think you see the show and you think of it as the show, how it's shot, how it's presented. I look at it, although I agree with you on the shots and the presentation of everything, I look at it through a comic book filter. So it's more story based for me.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. This episode was the best so far because it mostly focused on Jim and the mayor.
Galvin?
The mayor, Galvin's sister, puts a hit out on Gordon.
Spoiler.
And if you haven't seen it, it's been over a week. It's your own damn fault. So, all of these assassins are coming after Gordon. The captain, let's call him the commissioner. Well, he is the commissioner.
Yeah.
The commish gets caught in the crossfire, winds up getting stabbed, and he has to make a moral choice: either let Jim do Gordon's
stuff.
thing,
Yeah.
or hold him back and might get killed in the process. Everybody might get killed in the process. And he finally came to the realization that you have to bend to make Gotham work. And that was a great insight into the city itself for me.
Yeah, and even on the story front, Knock, I think I get a feeling from this show that's different from when I watch other shows, other than say Daredevil. I think Daredevil, and I haven't seen Jessica Jones yet, but I'm going to tonight. Daredevil and Gotham are not for. They're definitely not targeted for like the tweens and very, very young adults. I'm saying pre-20s.
Right.
That shows like Arrow and The Flash and even S.H.I.E.L.D. to a certain degree, even though I'm only about 13 episodes in, to a certain degree, are aimed for. And the only reason I lump S.H.I.E.L.D. into that is because of the attachment to Disney, and they're always trying to market as young as they can.
Right.
With their properties. So,
I
think
they're trying to shoot for a broader scope, unlike Gotham and Daredevil, and even Jessica Jones, because they're going for the gritty realism, even though she has... I don't know the characters, so I'm just going to quote-unquote has superpowers.
Mm-hmm.
They're still going for the gritty, street-level realism.
But I think that's also bleeding from Daredevil, which they're definitely attaching their expanded universe
They
to.
are. As far as I know, at the end of everything, after Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist, Danny something, they're going to come all together and have a Defenders show.
Right.
Also.
That also bothers me too, that every time, now that I understand that it might be a natural progression, but why can't these motherfuckers just give them like their own show and do like team ups now and then? Why does everybody have to have a fucking like big ass Justice League?
Because not everybody knows about these characters, so if they show the development of the characters solo, then they can bring them all together in a team.
I know that that's something that they want to do, but I'm saying that they don't have to do that. That doesn't have to be the formula you have to follow. Like, not every Marvel hero that comes out is going to potentially be in a team-up movie like Avengers was. Because then it just becomes formulaic. Not every, CW character that comes out with their own show has to have a Legends of Tomorrow tie-in. You know what I'm saying? It's just not necessary. And that's another reason, I guess, why I like Gotham as it is, because there's not going to be any fucking team-ups there. I think it's just going to be Gordon's life.
But there already is a team-up.
What team-up?
Enigma and Penguin.
No. I'm talking like a headlining team. Unless they come out with like a villains, which might be kind of cool.
Yeah.
A villains launch for that show. There's never going to be any fucking team-up with Gordon. It's just not going to happen. So I guess that's my saving grace for that show. But to get back to what we were talking about, I think the audiences are more the show is now more sophisticated now that they've trimmed back a lot of the bullshit that the first season had with just name dropping. Now they can really focus on the things that audiences really want, which are meaty, juicy, well produced stories that are like beautiful to watch.
Yeah.
So I think that's where they're at now. They're not looking for action beats. They're not looking for characters getting like dropped in every other week. They're making stuff that you can really sink your teeth into and be in for the long haul, which I think was a good play.
Okay.
So I mean, right from the get-go, I mean, this week's episode did a really good job with establishing that, with having the sister of Galvin wandering through the streets of Gotham, seemingly finding a bar, but of course that bar is not what it seems at all. It's a fucking casino for some of the most ruthless gangsters and hitmen to ever come through Gotham City.
Right, it's a speakeasy. You go to the bartender and you tell him you want this certain drink, you hand him a wad of cash and he'll press a button underneath the bar which opens the back panel And people are in there.
But I think it's actually a little more elitist than that.
It is.
I mean, you're not going to find just a guy who's out for a good time. You might not even find a rich socialite in there that wants to walk on the wild side. I'm willing to wager that everybody in that bar has got a rap sheet that's long enough, populated with dead bodies. Because, remember, halfway through the episode, she just grabs the guy's dice and just shouts out to everybody, if anybody wants this contract, you can have it. So I'm assuming the whole place is filled with killers, mercenaries, not your average people. Not the people that would be in what's his name's? The guy who had his hand cut off.
Galvin?
No, by Penguin.
Oh,
Butch. Not the people that would be in Butch's gang.
Right,
like more elite people.
Yes, the people that would be in Butch's gang are
guys
psychopaths and street thugs, more or less.
Well, guys he grew up in the neighborhood who he could trust.
The people that are in that back room, from what I gathered from the conversation between the head elitist chick and Flamingo, is it literally is a social, not a social group, but a club. It's a club of killers, contract killers, and she runs this organization.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too. It's like it reminds me back to when they were introducing Fish from season 1, which I will go on and on about being like some really nice cinematography for a TV show. But you just pan over from when she walks in and you're looking down at these people playing games, and boom, you're hit with like this rich blood, deep red of like the casino tables, the carpet, the lighting, after coming out of seemingly like a shadowed area where she walks in from. It's just beautiful to watch. When television gets things right like that, I think the nitpicking stuff you're allowed to give them leeway, because it's obvious they're trying. They're trying to give you more of a cinematic experience as opposed to a television experience.
Right.
So I think that's where a lot of my praise comes to Gotham, is that they're trying to give us the full package. Like I was telling you before, I don't think I'm watching a TV show, which is so blatantly apparent when you watch shows like, Flash and Shield and even Arrow to a point, although to a lesser degree. You're watching TV shows when you're watching those.
Right.
I would argue that it's hard to tell the difference with the quality of acting, the improved writing, and the way the show is shot, that you're watching a TV show with Gotham.
You seem to be more watching these people live their lives than actually watching a show.
Right. Or like a movie.
Right.
So, I think they do that really right in this episode. Right down the line to the over the top violence that's in this show.
Right.
With the fucking cannibal, the Flamingo.
Yeah.
Just whacking people. He's burning a guy's body to cook it to eat, while another guy is struggling, begging for his life.
And he's cutting pieces off of the guy that's begging for his life and licking it.
That's straight up Reservoir Dog shit. And that's on television. Fox broadcast digital over the air. So if you've got a digital receiver, anybody can. And that's ballsy for a TV show, I think.
It is.
Criminal Minds comes close to that kind of shit. Not to name drop a show, but that's supposed to be a show peopled by psychopaths and the people that chase them. Not a comic book genre show like this one.
Right.
So, I think they're really pushing a lot of boundaries, and I think it's working for them.
I have to agree.
Right.
So far, season 2 of Gotham just blows season 1 out of the water.
Oh yeah. This would be a season that I would want to own.
Right.
And if they have a box set, I probably would buy all of them, but I would watch the fuck out of season 2.
Yeah.
So far.
Right.
So
they'll fuck up.
No, they won't. I hope they don't, because they're firing in all cylinders now. Everything's working for them. So I certainly hope they don't.
Even a well-oiled machine skips a piston now and then.
Ah! Damn you, Knock!
Yes, I know.
Well, on that note, I think we're probably going to have to wrap this one up, as we will gab about this tomorrow on the Geek Yoga podcast.
No, we won't. We're going to keep this separate, because you and Wave like to argue.
Yeah, I know. That's where I'll leave it.
That's it for this episode of the Signals from the Batcave. Tune in next time.
Bye now.